Thank you for joining us this evening for the Garden of Remembrance. We wish we could be together in person. This is the next best thing. And as you'll see from the community support and collaboration, everyone felt the same way. It is a privilege to be able to share this ceremony with you and take time to pause and reflect and remember our loved ones. I wish you comfort in your memories.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Whitney Vowles. I'm the Executive Director for Hospice Aurelia. Thank you for joining us for our Gardens of Remembrance. I want to start off this evening by acknowledging the devastating loss of the 215 Indigenous children that we have all learned about over the last few days. Tonight we honor their precious lives and we recognize the tremendous sorrow that surrounds everyone at this time. We share in each other's grief and will continue to support wherever we can. Our event tonight is being hosted on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. As settlers, we're grateful for the opportunity to gather here, and we thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. In particular, we acknowledge that this is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, specifically Ojibwe Chippewa people. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions Métis, Inuit, and other Indigenous peoples have made both in shaping and strengthening our community in particular, and this province and country as a whole. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect.
Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there. I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glints on snow. I am the sun on ripened grain, and I am the gentle autumn rain. When you awaken with morning's hush, I am the swift, uplifting rush of quiet birds in circled flight. I am the soft stars that shine at night. Do not stand at my grave and cry, I am not there. I did not die.
Hello, I'm Deborah Duncan Randall. I'm Vice Chair of the Board, and I'm going to do a reading called In the Light. A shadow of joy flickered, it is me. I told you I wouldn't leave, my spirit is with you. My memories, my thoughts are embedded deep in your heart. As always, I still love you. Do not for one moment think that you have been abandoned. I am in the light. In the corner, in the hall, in the car, in the yard, these are the places I stay with you. My spirit rises every time you pray for me, but my energy comes closer to you. Love does not diminish, it grows stronger. I am the feather that finds you in the yard, the dimmed light that grows brighter in your mind. In the morning when you rise. I hold a special place in our memories for you to see. We lived in our special way, a way that now has had its focus changed. I still crave understanding and long for the many words of prayer and good fortune for my soul. I am in the light. As you struggle to adjust without me, I watch silently. Sometimes I summon up all the strength of my new world to make you notice me. Impressed by your grief, I try to impress my love deeper into your consciousness. As you should, I call out to the heavens for help. You should know that the fountain of happiness does exist. My soul is now healthy. Your love sends me newfound energy. I'm adjusting to this new world. I am with you, and I am in the light. Please don't feel bad that you can't see me. I am with you wherever you go. I protect you, just as you protected and thought of me so many times. Talk to me, and somehow I will find a way to answer you. Father, mother, son, or daughter, it makes no difference. Brother, sister, lover, husband or wife, it makes no difference. I see you with my new eyes. I am learning to help wherever you are, wherever I am needed. This can be done because I am in the light. When you feel despair, reach out to me. I will come. My love for you truly does transcend from heaven to earth. Finish your life with the enthusiasm and zest that you had when we were together in the physical sense. You owe this to me, but more importantly, you owe it to yourself, to our family. Life continues for both of us. I am with you because I love you, and I am in the light.
Courage in the Wake of Loss by Maria Dawson. I savor each moment because I do not know exactly when a heavy gust or breeze might blow. Should it be today, I'll shed my sorrow in a tear, while my courage battles the uncertainty I fear. Dreadful emotions for which I can't prepare will likely taunt me with sporadic despair, but I'll be patient amid the highs and lows, for that is the process by which grieving goes. I'll accept this fate in spite of the stress and strain, ignoring should'ves, could'ves, would'ves to rid my pain, as will the sun's radiance on my thirsty skin restore in due time my contented grin.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rain, a time of snow, a time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late. A time for love, a time for hate, a time for peace. I swear it's not too late.
Time for me to go now. I won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows, way up in the sky. In the morning sunrise, when all the world is new, just look for me and love me, as you know I loved you. Time for me to leave you. I won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows, high up in the sky. In the evening sunset, when all the world is through, just look for me and love me, and I'll be close to you. It won't be forever. The day will come, and then my loving arms will hold you and we will meet again. Time for us to part now. We won't say goodbye. Look for me in rainbows, shining in the sky. Every waking moment and all your whole life through, just wish me to be near you and I'll be there for you.
Memories by Louise Bailey. I feel a warmth around me like your presence is so near, and I close my eyes to visualize your face when you are here. I endure the times we spent together, and they are locked inside my heart. As long as I have those memories, we will never be apart. Even though we cannot speak anymore, my voice is always there, because every night before I sleep, I have you in my prayer.
I didn't know her very well. It was my mother who would crank her up while driving in the car to Manitoulin. And as I listened from the sidelines, I decided all her magic was reserved for only people from the East Coast. But my mother would describe how she told stories of the miners, how my grandpa had survived, although his lungs were filled with slivers. And the voice that told the stories somehow made it all more bearable. Memories of the past now filled with love against all odds. And so it happened sometime later. I was driving in Mom's car. Rita's tape had gotten stuck inside the player, and although I could have switched it to the radio, I decided just to listen to the angel voice I'd heard so long ago. And when it came to working, man, I felt a pressure in my chest. I pulled into a station just to listen to the rest, and then I cried at the willingness of someone to survive against all odds. When I think of what a legend is, I see a woman on a stage, an angel voice surviving in this age against all odds. It's a working man I am, and I've been down underground, and I swear to God, if I ever see the sun, or for any length of time, I can hold it in my mind. I never again will go down underground. I didn't know her very well. It was my mother who would crank her up while driving in the car to Manitoulin. And as I listened from the sidelines, I decided all her magic was reserved for only people from the East Coast.
But my mother would describe how she told stories of the miners, how my grandpa had survived, although his lungs were filled with slivers. And the voice that told the stories somehow made it all more bearable. Memories of the past now filled with love against all odds.
My name is Linda Patton Cowie, and I'm the minister at St. Mark's Presbyterian Church here in Aurelia. I'm honored to be part of the second virtual Gardens of Remembrance service. This is a really important event in the life of our community, and I'm very grateful to Hospice Aurelia for ensuring that it continues despite our current circumstances. As I said last year, at least we don't have to worry about rain. Now, you don't need me to tell you that this has been a challenging time on so many levels. And experiencing loss and grief at any time is hard, but during a time such as this, I believe that our feelings are compounded. We are experiencing so much ambiguous loss as well as our grief. I hope this service will remind you that you are not alone, that there are folks available to support you, whether it's through a phone call or a Zoom meeting or a socially distanced walk in the park. Grief is hard, but as it has been said recently, what is grief if not love persevering? The idea that grief is love persevering can help us to see it in a different light, not as something that needs to be overcome or gotten rid of as soon as possible, but rather something that just is, something that's part of our journey of life. I want to share with you some wisdom from the Talmud, Jewish holy writings. Now I'm paraphrasing here, but it says that we all die two deaths. The first on the day we take our last breath, and the second, the last day our name is spoken. So I would encourage you, remember the love you feel for those you've lost, and keep saying their names. Share stories about them. Talk with others who knew them. What did you love about them? What did they do that would make you crazy? Don't be afraid to laugh or cry in the telling. And I want to invite you to enter fully into each moment. Be present. Give yourself permission to care for yourself and be gentle with yourself. Because in doing so, your physical, mental, and spiritual health will not only be tended to, you'll be better able to be available to others in your life. I want to close by sharing words from the Corrymeela community in Northern Ireland. May the truth of these words enfold you in the days and months to come. It is in the shelter of each other that the people live. It is in the shadow of each other that the people live. We know that sometimes we are alone, and sometimes we are in community. Sometimes we are in shadow, and sometimes we are surrounded by shelter. Sometimes we feel like exiles in our land, in our languages, and in our bodies. And sometimes we feel surrounded by welcome. As we seek to be human together, may we share the things that do not fade: generosity, truth-telling, silence, respect, and love. May the power we share be for the good of all. We honor the Creator, the source of this rich life, and we honor each other. Whether in our shadow or in our shelter, may we live well and fully with each other. May peace be with you.
Hello, this is Mayor Harry Hughes with a poem written by Hughes. The tide recedes, but leaves behind bright seashells on the sand. The sun goes down, but gentle warmth still lingers on the land. The music stops, and yet it echoes on in sweet refrain. For every joy that passes, something beautiful remains.
When I come to the end of the road and the sun has set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey we all must take, and all must go alone. It's part of the Master's plan, a step on the road to home. When you're lonely and sick at heart, go to the friends we know, and bury your sorrow in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go.
If you listen in a quiet room, you can hear it calling out to you. It will try to steer you away from harm with a solid voice and a strong arm. But it can't make you, and it won't save you, and it gets bothered in the times when it can't protect you. Some will hurt it, some will try to destroy it, and some will mend it. Some will dare you to embrace it. Tired and shaking, there is no breaking your spirit. It may have failed you, but it's the only thing that keeps you alive. And some think it's the only thing you take when you die. And there are times when you can't stop it from screaming out loud. And sometimes when you need it most, it gets lost in the crowd. But it can't stand when you're uncertain, and it gets tired in the times when your heart is hurting. It feels small, but it is still not afraid. It will try to be heard again and again each day. Tired and shaking, there is no breaking your spirit. Tired and shaking, there is no breaking your spirit. So stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Are you gonna take this lying down? Stand up. You can hear it calling out. Stand up. Are you gonna take this lying down? Stand up. You can hear it calling out. Stand up. Are you gonna take this lying down? Stand up. Stand up. Are you gonna take this lying down? Stand up. Stand up. Are you gonna take this lying down? Stand up. Can you hear it calling out? Stand up. Are you gonna take this?
Hello. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forest, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unnuttable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period of peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly, spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed.
Remember me. To the living I am gone. To the sorrowful I will never return. To the angry I was cheated, but to the happy I am at peace. And to the faithful I have never left. I cannot speak, but I can listen. I cannot be seen, but I can be heard. So as you stand upon a shore, gazing at a beautiful sea, as you look upon a flower and admire its simplicity, remember me. Remember me in your heart, your thoughts, and your memories of the times we loved, the times we cried, the times we fought, the times we laughed. For if you always think of me, I will never have gone.
When we lose someone we care about, sometimes we go through a variety of emotions, and one of those emotions that we come across is guilt. Sometimes we feel guilty about moving on and feeling joy again. When we lost my dad, we used a poem called "Feel No Guilt and Laughter, He'd Know How Much You Care." So I'd like to read that to you now to let you know that it's okay to carry on. It's okay to be okay sometimes. Feel no guilt and laughter, he'd know how much you care. Feel no sorrow in a smile that he is not here to share. You cannot grieve forever, he would not want you to. He'd hope that you could carry on the way you always do. So talk about the good times and the way you showed you care. The days you spent together and the happiness you shared. Let memories surround you, a word someone may say will suddenly recapture a time, an hour, a day that brings him back as clearly as though he were still here, and fills you with the feeling that he is always near. For if you keep those moments, you will never be apart, and he will live forever, locked safely in your heart. Take care.
I'll catch your smile on someone's face, your whisper in the wind's embrace, through diamond stars and songs and dreams. I find your love in everything. The sun, the sky, the rolling sea, all conspire to comfort me from sorrow's end. Life's beauty seems to find your love in everything. your smile on someone's face. Amazing grace.
We remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them.
This past 14 months has seen some very challenging times. A world pause. But with this break, it has given us time to think and reflect on what we have, and perhaps cherish and recall memories of loved ones lost. I think about my Aunt Mary and her life well lived. A life well lived is a precious gift of hope and strength and grace from someone who has made our world a brighter, better place. It's filled with moments, sweet and sad, with smiles and sometimes tears, with friendships formed and good times shared and laughter through the years. A life well lived is a legacy of joy, pride, and pleasure, a living, lasting memory our grateful hearts will treasure.
This reading is for those grieving the loss of a beloved pet. I walked with you. I stood by your bed last night. I came to have a peep. I could see that you were crying. You found it hard to sleep. I whined to you softly as you brushed away a tear. It's me, I haven't left you. I'm well, I'm fine, I'm here. I was close to you at breakfast. I watched you pour the tea. You were thinking of the many times your hands reached down to me. I was with you at the shops today. Your arms were getting sore. I longed to take your parcels. I wish I could do more. I was with you at my grave today. You tend it with such care. I want to reassure you that I'm not lying there. I walked with you towards the house as you fumbled for your key. I gently put my paw on you. I smiled and said, it's me. You looked so very tired and sank into a chair. I tried so hard to let you know that I was standing there. It's possible for me to be so near you every day, to say to you with certainty I never went away. You sat there very quietly, then smiled. I think you knew in the stillness of that evening I was very close to you. The day is over, and I smile and watch you yawning, and say good night. Bless you. I'll see you in the morning. And when the time is right for you to cross the brief divide, I'll rush across to greet you, and we'll stand side by side. I have so many things to show you. There's so much for you to see. Be patient. Live your journey out, then come home to be with me.
We understand how challenging it can be to lose a loved one, especially during a pandemic. Social isolation and loss of our normal rituals have led to complexities in grief. We encourage you to reach out for support should you require a friendly chat with one of our amazing volunteers. Our volunteers have continued to adapt and still provide exceptional service to the people we care for, and for this we are grateful. I'd also like to thank everybody involved in this evening's ceremony. The instant "yes, I'd love to be involved" illustrates just how much you care. Thank you so much for making this a compassionate community. Stay well, and thank you.
I remember the smiles on our faces when we had discovered our choices would soon be our own. Laughing and hoping for romance and flavor, We looked at our lives and thought we were full grown. And we sang La Isla Bonita. The old cassette player would blast out the music. How fast the moment went by in that youthful and daring, trouble-free time in our lives. We met again later, deep in the city, with dreams and adventure, amusement to spare. We found an apartment, the three of us girls, and we ate our pierogies while watching the Seinfeld shows. We sang, he ain't heavy. I remember the day we discovered what it really meant. How fast the moments go by in those desperate, delicate, beautiful times in our lives. We blinked and then somehow decades have passed. We watched one another write songs of our own. Still there are times when we sit by the fire and talk about how we have more time to grow. We sang American Pie, though the ending's confusing, we still could relate to it. How fast the moments go by in those busy, precious, hard to find times. We sang No Sugar Tonight. We'd divide at the ending, so all parts were covered. We sang Tupac and Love Shack. Not one of us could rap, but all of us would try. We sang I Like Big Butts, and we'd dance in the kitchen and laugh at each other. We sang Take Me Out, and we'd put on our makeup and tell all our secrets. We sang, oh, we sang, we sang, and we sang, oh, we sang, we sang, we sang me and Bobby McGee at 2 in the morning on Anderson Drive. We sang Walk This Way and Twice as Hard. We sang Karma Police, no woman, no cry, no woman, no cry. We sang, we sang,
things I say. She hasn't got the faith of the guts to live. I can hide each other's way. Silent footsteps, natural places you've been to. You wonder what you're gonna find. Nothing's wrong when you won't be long before you leave them all far behind. It's the new